Hey, it's the podcast guy.
Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. It's the Sutton Podcast.
And there it is! Sutton United at the GM Vauxhall Conference have put out First Division Coventry City, winners of the FA Cup themselves less than 2 years ago. And what a moment to enjoy for the fans of this Surrey side. They've had their moments before, but never one like this. But the whistle goes down. Delight for Sutton United. Sutton United from the National League are through to the last 16 of the FA Cup. No longer English football's perennial non-league club. A 123-year crescendo reaches a new peak for Sutton United, who are promoted to the Football League for the first time.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. Sutton Podcast in association with Lucky Star Gin. Before I continue with the rest of my opening, I just need to check something. There's something very, very important for me to clarify. This is Sutton Surrey or London, depending on your vintage and viewpoint. It is not Sutton Coldfield in Birmingham. So any fourth officials, referees, you might want a different podcast. If you're a regular listener, thank you very much. I really, really appreciate it. And if you're a new listener, welcome. Hopefully that'll make some sense to you because if not, I don't know how to explain it. I'm your host, Mike, and with me today we have Claire and Alex who are hopping us through the Easter fixtures. Hopping us. Okay, we'll move on. We love hearing from you. Join the conversation, stay connected, and share your thoughts on all our episodes. Chat with other fans, and let me know what you'd like to hear next on the podcast. Because especially as we're coming towards the end of the season, so any ideas for the close season will be gratefully received. We're on all major social media platforms and X at Sutton Podcast. Your likes, shares, and everything really, really do help. Guys, how have you both been? I saw you on Monday, but let's pretend. How have you both been? Alex, how are you? I know you're not in the toilet, you're at work, but how are you?
Yeah, fine, thanks, Mike. Although after watching the performance on Monday, I kind of wish I'd gone to Sutton Coldfield myself rather than the ground. Had a little day out around Birmingham area, would have been quite nice. Yes,
but maybe that's what the 4-4. And Barbie Dreamhouse, Claire, how are you?
I am very well, thank you. I'm loving the sunshine. This is the best week I could possibly have taken off of work, let's be honest.
Off work, lovely. Right. Right, club news. Well, as we already mentioned, we made national news again, but this time it wasn't anything to do with us. It was to do with the official putting in the wrong. Well, he put in apparently Sutton United FC, and Google Maps sent him up to Sutton Coldfield because Sutton United in Birmingham are registered with Companies House as Sutton United FC, apparently. And that's where they take the information from. Why he thought they were playing in the National League, that's a whole different story. We don't know. But anyway, that's why kickoff was delayed for such a long time. I think it was 2 minutes, was it? A minute, maybe? Who knows? And as I said, the close season's coming up very, very quickly. We have the fans game. I think all spaces are gone.
Yes, so all the kit order is in, so spaces are closed now. Sunday the 17th of May, 12:30 kickoff this year. Exciting managers to be announced in due course.
Is that 12:30 if it's on the zone?
Live streamed. No, because there are lots of other games happening that day, and I thought maybe people might want to go in the bar and watch a 5 o'clock kickoff. So I was being considerate of other people. I know. Shock. Should be a good one. So if you are about and want to come on down, have a nice drink in the sunshine, and get behind people, see who is this year's victor in the Shoebox Terrace Memorial Trophy.
And ticket prices are
free.
Can't get better value than free.
Exactly.
Surely.
Come on down.
Right, let's get through it. Let's just go for it. Come on. Aldershot, Alex. After 16 minutes, how were you feeling?
Oh, so bad. It was such a terrible game of football. Not just from us. I thought the quality, it's one of the worst quality football matches I've ever watched live, for sure. Both teams, you could tell that they were both pretty much safe. No one wants to jinx anything, but let's be honest, it's going to take something pretty special, and Brackley and Morecambe winning all their games and both Aldershot and Sutton getting no further points to go down, which feels pretty unlikely. So you could tell that both teams were on the beach / couldn't be bothered / were cancelled out by each other's ineptitude, I would say. But in answer to your question, I was wondering why I decided to do that on the bank holiday after 60 minutes. It was terrible.
Fair enough. Did you have any hope going into the game?
Oh yeah. One of the things about this season is that that is the problem. But one of the things about the season is that it's been so inconsistent. You only have to look at the last few weeks or so to see, the awful home losses to Morecambe and Truro, followed immediately by excellent away wins at Hartlepool and Eastleigh. And so that just tells you all you need to know about. You never know what you're going to get from this team, and therefore I don't know what to expect, and therefore there's always a bit of hope because the brilliant side might turn up. So yeah, I had some hope.
Exactly. I mean, Claire, let's be honest. If we got ourselves safe 6, 7, 8 weeks ago, it'd be boring. Let's just keep a little bit of element of jeopardy.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the hope that kills you, right?
Yeah.
And I think we look back. I was thinking earlier today about when was the last time Alex and I did the podcast together, and it was probably somewhere near the beginning of the season when I was full of hope and was telling you all how amazing the season was going to be and how we were getting promoted and how wonderful everything was. And then this was the season that was, I think is probably the term to just throw in there. And it's been the only thing that has been consistent about this season is the inconsistencies. And it's been heartbreaking, but also incredible in equal measure. Some of those Tuesday night away wins have been magnificent. Who would think that they would go to Scunthorpe on a Tuesday night and have a lovely time? It just wasn't really in my brain when I agreed to do it. But it was amazing. And then, on Friday, kind of 60 minutes in, you're questioning why you're not at home doing DIY like every other cliched person in England on a bank holiday Friday. But it got better.
It did, absolutely. But I'm going to pull you up on a little point there where you said the only thing that has been consistent is our inconsistency. And that's just not true. We have a penalty and another red card in that game. So the top of the league.
I have stats. Do you want stats? I did some.
Sure, but go on.
Talk dirty to Mike. Go on.
Because this is getting, frankly, ridiculous. So that was the penalty we conceded against Aldershot. Was our 15th penalty given away this season
in the league.
Oh,
okay. Which is more frequent than one every 3 games because we haven't yet played 45 matches. Comfortably the highest in the league. I think by 4 penalties or something. It's not even close. And then in the league as well, 6 red cards and 107 bookings, which is second from bottom in the fair play table. It's the highest yellow card count.
Really?
And I think third highest.
Who's higher than us? Or lower than us?
I think it's done. The red cards has more weight. I can't remember. Is it Altrincham? Someone's got 9 red cards, which is really shocking.
It's pretty bad.
But point being that you're absolutely right.
Pull your finger out.
The inevitability of the penalty and the red cards in the Aldershot game, particularly the penalty because it was so early in the game, was no one's surprised in the crowd, no one's shocked or anything. It's just this resignation. It's just miserable.
17 minutes into the game, the message I put in the Gandemonian WhatsApp group read, I'm playing I Spire a Sutton game and all I need now left to win is a red card and a punch up.
Yeah.
And only slightly later did I go, well, just a punch up to go now.
Punch up to go now, yeah. Right, let's go with Charlie's red because he got quite a lot of criticism. Lots of people, some of the things I didn't respond to them all because I just couldn't take it. He needs to grow up. He's like 12, so that's fine. He needs to grow up. Him and Junior came in for a little bit of stick. Claire, do you think that's there? They should have learned. One criticism with Charlie is he got the yellow card, and then I think it was like 4 minutes later that he got the red. Are you happy to put that down to kind of this? They're going to learn as they get older, or should they have known better at this stage?
I think it's a little bit of column A and a little bit of column B, if I'm honest. Like, I think you absolutely would, if you've got the right people around you and the right influences and the people that are telling you that's not how you channel your passion, then absolutely, then you're going to kind of learn from those things, and that you're going to be like, actually, that's at the detriment to themselves. Like, they've both got incredible futures to get ahead of them. I think we can all say that we're, really excited. Whilst we don't want to lose them, we're really excited to see where they go next and what they do, and to kind of champion them and make sure that they make the most of themselves. And the red cards is something that is at the detriment to that, and kind of will potentially hold them back in their progression, because people look at those kind of things and it does have a negativity associated with it. But I think if you've got good structure when it comes to kind of the emotional awareness and the intelligence behind that, whether that's your management team or your seniors within the squad telling you, it's great that you care and it's great that you're passionate and you want to drive through this game and, get results, but there are ways of doing that. And, the aggression is something that potentially, or just those silly mistakes, are things you need to think about and how they impact upon your game. So I don't think it's fair for anyone to really kind of lay into them, because they are young. And I think one of the things this season I've really struggled with is, like, we all make mistakes at our jobs, right? Like, nobody is perfect, but you're not looked at under a microscope in the same way by, the public. So, like, there is an element of that to it as well. And, like, cut some people some slack. Like,
I agree.
Who isn't exhausted at this point in the season? Like, I'm done, and I'm going to imagine that they're done, and I don't have to run around for 90 minutes and train 4 or 5 days a week and all that kind of stuff. Like, it's that like that grace for me. I think it's like, actually, let's just sit back and hope that maybe next year we don't top that particular table that Stato over here has referenced.
I'm generally gutted. I thought we were top/bottom of it. I didn't realise there was someone else in the mix at all. I thought we were well ahead.
There's still games to go, mate. Like,
yeah. Alex, what about yourself? Do you feel that some of the criticism was fair, too much? Did you see it?
No, I don't read the stuff online that much, to be honest, Mike, because it's just I don't
very healthy.
Yeah, just because, as you've rightly pointed, I mean, everyone's entitled to their opinion, of course, but as you've rightly pointed out, these are young fellas who are being asked, particularly in the case of Junior, he just looks knackered, understandably knackered. This is the first time he's really had a full season of being in the starting 11, and he's being asked to play out of position. When we play a back four, he's playing right centre back, and that is not his position. He's a right back or a right wing back. So you've got a young lad in his first full season playing out of position. Of course he's exhausted, and of course he's given away a silly penalty against Aldershot that comes from a poor back pass, that comes from a lack of confidence, that probably comes from being knackered. So I think at this stage of the season you can attribute it to that. And if your reaction then is to fire messages to both of them or whoever online about their character or whatever, then that's just ridiculous, because look at what both of them have done for us this season. And yeah, as you said, they made a mistake against Aldershot. People make mistakes. I think the interesting point is around where we sit in the squad in terms of experienced players, because you've both sort of alluded rightly, I think, to the fact that if you have more experienced players around you, some of this stuff is hopefully likely to be reduced in your own game, because you're learning from the experienced heads around you. But and I know Chris has talked about that in some of his interviews, being sort of 4 or 5 experienced players short in the squad. And I'm interested in the logic of how do we get those players then? Because he's also talked about the gulf between the National League and the National Leagues north and south below us. So presumably he's therefore saying, well, we're looking up in the leagues to get those players and get that experience. And therefore, are you looking to sign players who are perhaps coming to the end of their careers? Is that okay if you sign a few of them and blend that with young players? Probably yes. Can we afford them though? How do we attract them? I'm interested in your guys' thoughts on that.
I have no idea. I was going to put that question to you guys later on, so thanks for that. That's all right. I mean, it is the contact book. I mean, does Chris have as much contacts in the game. I know he's done a lot of coaching, but people like Jake coming in, he's not at the end of his career. He's a couple more, 2, 3 more seasons. Had he been on the pitch against Aldershot, maybe different. He wasn't playing, was he?
He was playing.
He was playing.
Yeah, he played
then
the
I
whole.
But
blame
he
him.
can't. But I think I think someone like no, absolutely not. I think someone like Tails is a great addition to the squad. But I think you're right. Like there's a gap there. Those senior players, and you look back at what we had at the beginning of the season, and you're quite a strong core of more like mature players compared to like people who are 20, 21, 22. They're by no means old because there's still people in their early 30s, but like that we had that kind of core contingent, and those are the majority of those people have now either gone or they're on loan or whatever, and that's what we're really, really missing. And you can't expect one person to be holding that down, and you also then have this weird place then when you're left where like I'm skipping ahead slightly, but like on Monday, for example, you miss people who aren't on the pitch because they've been sent off, but they're youngsters, and like your whole team shouldn't fall apart because the likes of Brandon aren't there or whatever, and like they're important in integral parts of the team, but it shouldn't rely on one person to be holding it all together. It's a squad for a reason. So there's definitely some spaces.
Before Alex swerved me with that other question, I was going to say, not only is Junior, for example, playing out of position and knackered, there's also a weight of expectation on him, which is ridiculous. I mean, you had Chris saying a few months ago, we can't wait for Junior to get back in the side. And that's a stupid thing to be saying about an 18-year-old. You shouldn't be relying on an 18-year-old to come and pull yourself out of it. Same for Charlie Bell. Now, there's one more thing for Aldershot, but we're talking about young players. You were next to me when Tim turned around after we made a substitution. We took Junior off, but I can't remember who went on. And Tim sort of turned around and said, not many teams would take an 18-year-old off, put someone on and lower the age of the team that's out there, the average age, by a considerable amount, I think it was. Mm-hmm. But yes, we were 2-0 down, but we did come back. So how much credit do you give the guys, Claire, for fighting back in that awful game that Alex says? Alex has played in 2 fans matches with me, and I can't believe
he knows that travesty.
He's the worst.
Yeah,
that's the quality. I'll just clarify that I was playing in that game rather than watching.
Oh, fair enough. You were watching me get just drowning in grass. Anyway,
you have to give them massive credit for that, and I think that's the real testament to some of the things that they're capable of. Is that like actually it's quite easy when you're 2 down just to let your head dip and go, do you know what, like we're out of this and what's the point? And I don't think that it then felt like that, and it was quite nice to not watch that kind of shoulders like go and to really give up, because it's very, very easy to do. And I think like we've got to a point in the season where that's not going to be okay. Do you know what I mean? We still need a few more to really make this comfortable. I dread to think what the conversation was that took place in the changing room at half time, but like I'm sure like some of that was then spurring them on to drive it a bit more, and like actually like you can't it definitely makes the journey home a little bit better, doesn't it, when you're like we were down and out and like kind of was sitting thing going, oh cool, I get to go home and sit on the sofa and be miserable about that, and actually like it did lift your spirits somewhat. So like to credit to them.
Yeah, absolutely. We could have nicked it. But Alex, how did you feel that we made that comeback?
Yeah, I agree with the credit argument up to a point. Like you're absolutely right. They did well and they showed some good fight. They were gifted the 2 goals though by some just atrocious play from Aldershot. The keeper's kick out for the first goal was shocking, and then they play it around nicely and they get lucky with the way the ball falls in the box, and Simper takes it well, which is great. And you have to make your luck, and we're due some luck as well, so that was great. And then it was fantastic to see, for a change, a stupid penalty going in our favour rather than giving one away, because there's no way that Obi's getting to that ball. Absolutely no chance. It was quite a good delivery in from Toby, and I quite liked him when he came on. He sort of bumbled his way past a few people on the left wing, and I kind of enjoyed that. But he's not. It's a decent effort with the ball, but Obi's nowhere near it. and the guy just takes him out. What's he doing? It's just crazy. So I agree that they did well to not let their heads go down. I think that should be the minimum bar that we expect. We shouldn't expect teams to just fold.
Yeah.
And then they were given 2 goals, but we gave them 2 goals.
We gave them 2 as well. Yeah.
So it ended up as a terrible 2-2. Like I said, it was rubbish.
At least got to see goals. Right, yeah. Southend. Let's talk about lovely bank holiday Monday in the sunshine. Lovely to see Matt and Jason.
Yeah. I was quite emotional.
Yeah.
Oh, shock. Alex gets upset about Matt.
I bullied Francis. She didn't want to go in and say hello. And I was like, come on. And she was like, I'm not sure if I'm allowed. And I was like, yeah. So I thought afterwards, I never ever take advantage or abuse any privilege I have for myself. Always someone else. I always drag someone else in going, hang on, I should be doing this for me. But first half, we had a bit of a charmed life. Charlie Schindel, bless him. I know he's done well since leaving us, but he was showing why.
Yeah, he was.
I didn't mind him leaving us. But how were you? Did you feel like in that first half how we survived it, Alex? Actually, you know what? Things could go our way. Or did you think it's going to happen at some stage?
It's tricky, Mike, because I've told you about 10 minutes earlier that I always have hope, and now I'm answering your question. I'm not sure I actually did. Well, there's always hope when it's 0-0. But yeah, look, as you say, we were under the pump. I think that the alarming thing was, Southend were playing well and when we were under the pump, but we weren't doing the stuff that, even the basic stuff that we normally do okay. For example, deliveries from set pieces. Simps is usually fantastic at those, or whoever takes them, but it's often him, and they were off. And there was no pressure valve release every time. If we get perhaps we'd defend for 10, 15 minutes and then get a corner, and you think, right, we might not score, but we might put 2 or 3 corners together, for example, through good deliveries. And the deliveries were terrible, and that was just releasing the pressure. And I think you could tell that the team, especially at the back, were under pressure, because the passing out from the back, which I'm in favour of, I like playing from the back and drawing people in and trying to make the space. And some of the goals we've scored this season from doing that have been amazing, but it was too slow. It was too nervous. It portrayed a lack of confidence, and that all led me to not feel great about the second half. But such is football, 0-0. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, passing out of, I know it's split things. I'd put a line partway through the penalty box and say, anything beyond this line, you kick it as far as possible. But I'm not paid to manage. So, Claire, how were you feeling in the first half? Were you kind of hoping we could get something out of the second half?
I didn't feel like there was anything coming. Like I felt it was really scrappy, and there were moments where you're just like, this is, like I said, it was just a bit slow, and it felt clunky and not quite as measured and considered as usual. And you do have those moments of like, okay, we played like 2 days ago, is this why? And like it's a lot. But no, I didn't feel like anything was coming. I think there were a couple of times when I thought, Stimmer had the touch of God and actually, made some pretty decent saves in the first half.
Aged well.
Yeah, well, but this is the thing, isn't it? That's the thing. In the first half, I was like, I'm quite proud of you today. And then I was like, oh, I'm glad I didn't tweet that. Do you know what I mean? But like, there's, there was, what was that? That was the real juxtaposition of 2 halves, wasn't it? Yeah.
And I think, just Mike, on the point about second half hope, one of the reasons I was concerned is that our bench was really light. We've talked about suspensions and injuries and fatigue and stuff, but that's part of the reason. You're playing a good Southend side with a good squad who've got a real incentive to win. And as I sort of touched on at the start, in terms of the Aldershot game, yes, we need a point or two to make ourselves safe, but our incentive to win is probably lower than theirs is at the moment, because they're chasing playoffs. So you put all that together, plus the fact that our bench is pretty much full of academy guys, all of who I like, but it does mean we're just a bit light for second half reinforcements.
Yeah, I mean, bless Jack. Don't know what happened, but there's no way. I couldn't believe I saw someone criticising. I'm like, hang on a minute, how many points has he saved us this season? He was due a bit of a howler at some. Obviously, I didn't want him to have one, But it was due a bit while I was standing right near his dad, and I was like, "I'm moving spots. I can't talk to Andy about this."
I mean, there was one moment. Somebody wrote in I think I can't remember, it was online or something. I saw where someone was like, "Tell me when he last made a decent save," and I was like,
Yeah.
Are you
Well,
for real? Like,
Yeah.
are you actually for real? Like, literally, probably about 20 minutes ago. Like, come on.
First half, there was a point blank shot. Because I was speaking to someone at Heart, it may have been just after, and they were criticising as well. And I was like, I mean,
I do think he looks a bit tired as well. Again, understandably, because long season. I thought he was, with the people like, my dad and my uncle and my mate who we stand together, and we were sort of chatting about the fact that he looked a bit tentative with balls over the top that was sort of on the edge or just inside of the penalty area, whether to come or go, and a couple of crosses. And usually he's so good at that. So I thought he was a bit tentative in that respect. Obviously, no one can predict the howler that he has for the first goal, unfortunately. But I think he's another one where he looks a bit fatigued, understandandly.
And he struggled with injury this season as well.
Yeah.
And like, we shouldn't forget that. So like, actually, he probably just needs the break.
He does, yeah.
Yeah.
He's clearly a great keeper, and we're lucky to have him.
We're very lucky to have him. Yeah.
he had that back injury that was out for a while. Then there was a recurrence of it, and it's got to play in your mind a little bit. I'm an old man when I'm getting off the sofa. I have to think about my back. I'm not someone getting paid to do.
Yeah, we've seen you play football. So.
You haven't. You've seen me on the pitch.
Well, I said play loosely. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, basically, I mean, their third goal was good. Let's be fair. Their third goal was an absolute cracker. We didn't see Goody on, but just as well, really. I guess he would have scored as well.
He did. He came on.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was watching at that point.
Quite rightly in the bar by then.
I'm open in the bar, yeah. Right. So Alex touched on this earlier, Claire, but where are we? 47 points at the moment. We could get top 10. We could get relegated. Both of those things require very convoluted results. But if you're going to say that relegation is possible, you have to look and say, well, actually, similar results could get us in top 10.
I love you, but with all due respect, no. Is how I feel about could we make top 10, if I'm being entirely honest. Like, I know, and could is a big word, but I just at this point, like, I just want 3 more and to feel, kind of content with our lot and to forget about this season and move on. And yeah.
I always feel free as well. I mean, I think we're fine.
But
yeah, I'd like that 3 to get the 50 points just to go, oh, we ticked it off at some point in the season.
Do you think we're likely to get, in your opinion, do you think we're going to get more points from the 2 away games against Carlisle and Boreham Wood, or the home game against Altrincham? Because, on one hand, you say, well, the home game against Altrincham, because A, it's home game, B, they're, not much to play for, lower in the league, and the 2 away games against, they're away, and they're against sides, looking to secure. I mean, Carlisle have already secured players, but, really with lots to play for at the end of the season. But then our home form has been so poor, and our away form's been all right. So what's your money on? Or do we just get 0? Because that is possible.
If I'm honest, I think the ridiculousness of where we are and how things have been this season, the stupid thing that will happen is that we'll get 3 points on Saturday in some absolute ridiculousness, and it'll be like, oh, we took 6 points from them this season, right? And that is the kind of that's the kind of shithousery that we've been playing with this year, isn't it? So, like, for me, that is where I feel like something stupid will happen. And then the other 2 I haven't really considered, if I'm being entirely honest.
What do you think's the home form? What's going on with the home form? What do you think it is? This
is the question I was going to say next, is why do you think home form was struggling and away form were doing well? I have a theory. Claire, you go, because you definitely want to say something.
I think historically, and I don't just think it's this season, I think for quite a consistent amount of time, our home form has been poor in comparison to what happens away from home. I don't think it's just like isolated to this season. I think that generally that the atmosphere at an away game, rightly or wrongly, is just entirely different from what you get at home. And it's it's not our fans, it's not the noise that we make, it's our ground. And it's the way that we're all so widely spread. And when you go away, you kind of have this, like, all your fans are packed into this one little tiny corner somewhere, right? And there's like 300 of them. But because they're under some weird tin roof, like, the noise that they all make together sounds vastly bigger than what we achieve when there are thousands of people in Gander Green Lane. And it's infuriating because, like, that should be the place where we feel most brave and most content, and you're at home and you feel strong about stuff. And I just think that our ground doesn't necessarily lend itself to that, and therefore I feel like quite often our team just seem more G'd along and up for it when we're somewhere else. And it's something that, you know, as we develop and we kind of look at how we, you know, bring the ground up to higher specs, and we develop parts of it and, you know, do stuff parkside, whatever, we look at how we make what we have more conducive to that kind of atmosphere and that kind of noise. Because, you know, the additions at the Collingwood Road end, that stand, moving the home fans down that end, has definitely had an impact when it comes to noise and volume. You can't deny that. But there's still, you know, there's so many people stood on the curve and in the grandstand, and it just doesn't translate in the same way. So there's some interesting stuff about, is it the 12th man? I know it's not entirely down to the 12th man, but, like, for me, I do think there's an element of that, and that's not a criticism of the fans. It's very much what we have infrastructure wise as a ground.
I'd build on that. I think also because we are generally quite quiet, and it is a few people trying to make noise, and I hold my hand up and go, yeah, I'm not one of them. When something goes not quite right, there is a noise, and it's a collective groan, and it only seems louder because, as you said, the noise we're making doesn't really do an awful lot, but when everyone's groaning, it does. And there's no way, I mean, I haven't spoken to any of them yet, and they'll all probably call me a liar, but there's no way the players can't be like, oh God, and feel like they don't want to make a mistake.
Pressure. It's pressure, isn't it?
Yeah.
More pressure.
They hear it. They know what we're saying. They can hear us say it. So of course it's going to go to them and don't want to be the one that makes the mistake. And that's why they tend to make a mistake, because they're panicking about it. Alex, do you agree with I mean, I know you're at the Aldershot match with, is it 400 of you making a hell of a lot of noise?
Yeah, absolutely. Great turnout. I mean, I think Claire's point is absolutely right. And the Aldershot ground is a good example of that, because they don't necessarily get any more or less fans than we do, really. But they're all packed in that stand behind their goal, and more of them go in there than our lot behind our goal. And it was loud. They were loud. I was really impressed. And that's got, I don't know what Aldershot's home form is like this season, probably fine. But, you know, it can't do any harm. And I think there's a pressure that comes from playing at home for us at the moment, because of that collective intake of breath, or exhale, perhaps is the best way to describe it when it is a grumble, the players inevitably hear.
I also think that, like, when you're away from home, the noise coming from those home fans is sometimes encouraging. I know from, like, conversations I've had with people that have played, you know, if the opposition fans are giving you a bit of a hard time, that's the moment when you turn around and you almost kind of go, okay, watch this. And it spurs you on. So, like, and I think, you know, most of us probably feel that at points, either in their career or in their jobs or whatever. If someone thinks, I'm a big one of that, if you tell me I can't do it, watch me. So, like,
it probably links to the age of the squad again. It's that point again, because, you know, the pressure being on at home is harder to deal with if you are a younger man player, you know, and therefore away from home, you know, I'm not saying they're complacent or anything, but, you know, the pressure's off, especially at this where we are in the league. If you go and lose away to Scunthorpe, everyone kind of goes, well, that was expected. And therefore, you know, as a young person, that's probably easier to deal with than, oh, crikey, you know, we're playing Truro or Morecambe at home, who, you know, I'm not sure I'd ever go into a match this season and say I would expect to win, but, you know, you'd hope, given their positions in the table, you'd hope it's a good chance for us to pick up points. That brings pressure, and that's harder at home.
Okay. We're going to wrap up in a bit, but very, very quickly, I was going to do this a bit more of a discussion, but very quickly, very short answer, Alex, what do we need in the summer?
I think we need, I'm excited for Chris and team to have a whole pre-season and a whole summer, because the way he's come in and the hectic nature of the league season and the cups we've been in means that players play a lot of football and not that many opportunities, I imagine, for him to sort of step back and think, right, what's going on here? Because you can see that from some of the signings we've made have probably been rushed or quick decisions, and some of them have worked out and some of them haven't, and some of them I'm sort of thinking, why did you bring that person in? It's probably because they need quick solutions because of injuries and red cards, and they haven't had much time to make a plan and think about it. So first thing I want is for them to have some time, which they will get, to sit down and think, right, what do we need? In answer to the question, what do we need? We do need some experienced heads. That's not a light bulb novelty idea that I've got there. Everyone's been saying it, including Chris himself. How we get them, as I touched on earlier, I'm not quite sure. I hope he's got a plan for that. I'm sure he's thought about it because he's mentioned it in post-match interviews, etc. I hope his book of contacts is bulging and he can find a way to sell, the money that we can pay these people, which is, less than other clubs, and the infrastructure of the club, again, which is less than other clubs. But hopefully he can find a way to sell Sutton to those kind of players, and we can get in a position whereby, with a good start to the season, we can look up at the table rather than down.
Absolutely. Claire, after the call, you can chat with Alex about the meaning of the word quickly. But if you could quickly give me what's your opinion of what we need.
To be honest, I'd echo the same kind of things. I'm less bothered about having some incredible preseason, if I'm entirely honest, because, quite frankly, we had an incredible preseason this year, and it counts for naffle, right? I actually kind of think I'd like to have an absolutely disastrous preseason and an incredible season. That's fine by me. But yeah, experience, absolutely is experience. Some age in the squad, and some kind of leadership there to really kind of guide and help mold some of those younger players to help them maximize their potential.
Absolutely. Okay, excellent. So do you want to do a prediction for Carlisle? I know you think we're going to win, but was it 6-0, 5-0?
I don't know, something stupid. I think maybe it will be 2-2 going into the 93rd minute, and then we'll score an absolute screamer and we'll win 3-2. There we go.
Oh, Claire, I hope you're right.
David's backside.
So do I, but that's fine.
Alex, go on.
Well, I always say 4-0 to Sutton, because as I've alluded to, not just this season, but across my whole life watching football, I have no idea what's going to happen, and therefore I predict what I would like to happen. It's quite telling that Dan, who I stand with at the games, I said 4-0 on Monday, and he said, God, it's been a while since you've said that, which I think is an indicator of how the season's been going. But I'll back it for the weekend. We can beat Leslie Hughes twice in one season and win 4-0.
We'll get David to score a couple of our goals.
Please.
Right, we are going to wrap up this episode of Sutton Podcast. As always, appreciate everyone's ear, attention and feedback. Follow, like, share this episode on all socials at Sutton Podcast. Subscribe, give me a review, give me the thumbs up. Thanks to everyone who already does it, Alex as well. Big thank you to our sponsors, Lucky Star Gin, and to today's guests, Claire and Alex. Thanks for listening. Take care. Hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll catch up soon. Bye-bye.